So it is being reported that Michael Keaton will not only co-star with Ezra Miller in the Flash movie, which will be Flashpoint, but he will then go on to replace Ben Affleck in the DCEU moving forward. Holy f***ing shit. We've got to break this down. What's up, everybody? It's Josh. Welcome back to the channel. Smash that like button and let's get right into this. Also, I just want you to know this is literally the third time I've had to re-record this video, and now I won't even be able to enjoy my Uber Eats until I'm done with this video. Okay, so wild things are happening. Really crazy stuff. I was just sitting down and recording a video all about the Jeffrey Dean Morgan rumors, reports, and things like that. Okay. So then after that, I see Jeremy Conrad post about The Wrap's big scoop that it's not going to be Jeffrey Dean Morgan, and instead it will be Michael Keaton, and they're going to go back to an alternate universe that spins out from the Batman in 1989. So really crazy stuff. Then after that, Daniel Richtman, who originally sourced the scoop about Jeffrey Dean Morgan and the talks of him coming back to play Thomas Wayne. Yeah, he scooped that Michael Keaton is actually going to be replacing Ben Affleck in the DCEU, will co-star with Ezra Miller in The Flash, or will co-star with The Flash, whoever The Flash is, in the Flash movie. And then spinning out of that, he will be the Batman for the DCEU, replacing Ben Affleck. Now, apparently it is being reported that Jeffrey Dean Morgan and those talks fell through, that Jeffrey Dean Morgan is out and that Michael Keaton Batman is in. And so that's a really interesting thing. But technically, Jeffrey Dean Morgan could still play Thomas Wayne in that alternate universe, and they could work it out in a way that they could have both Batmans in that film. I don't know if they would do that. It's more likely that they would just stick to the Michael Keaton Batman. And if you read the article on The Wrap, it says here, but The Flash will disregard the later two entries, talking about the Schumacher movies, and it will explore what Keaton's version of the Batman has been up to since we last saw him, and the movie will loosely be based on 2011 DC Comics crossover event, Flashpoint. The story sees Ezra Miller's Barry Allen travel back in time to prevent the death of his mother, and the result, Allen inadvertently creates another universe protected by Michael Keaton's Batman, now 30 years older. Okay, so that's the report. Really wild stuff. Again, a very just crazy series of scoops and things coming out. So making this video has honestly been a super big headache. But what appears to be happening is Michael Keaton is signed on to not only co-star with Ezra Miller in the Flash movie, but then spinning out of that film, Keaton will be the Batman in the DCEU moving forward. That is what Daniel Richtman is now reporting, okay? So let's break this down. Let's talk about what this means, why this is so crazy. Number one, totally solidifies the Flash movie being Flashpoint and the idea of doing a soft reboot. It also potentially sets up a really interesting thing for DC's continuity. DC, using the multiverse, has the ability to technically connect all of the different movies that they have ever made, because they can all be separate Earths or separate versions of a universe within the multiverse. And the thing that's really sticking out to me is the Grant Gustin Flash show having the Ezra Miller Flash cameo on that show. Now, we didn't know this at the time, but it came out earlier this year that was actually put forward by the studios. The studios themselves wanted that to happen. So it kind of makes me think that that's where their head is at with fixing their continuity. And let me just say this. They have an opportunity with DC and with what they're going to do with the Flash movie to set up the DCEU, which will have its own continuity moving forward, which will be awesome. But also, they have the ability to connect the CW universe and have it be just one part of the multiverse, still canon to the DCEU, happening kind of right beside itself. And technically, the Ezra Miller Flash cameo creates that connective tissue. But even more crazy, they have the ability to connect other things, like maybe the Batverse that Matt Reeves is creating. That could potentially be another universe within the multiverse. Or maybe whatever J.J. Abrams is creating over on HBO Max with Bad Robot, maybe that stuff is its own universe. So DC has the ability now to not only set up a continuity that is just as clean as the MCU's, but it could be potentially even more interesting than the MCU's if they have the shows kind of in their own thing, the movies in their own thing, Zack Snyder's stuff maybe in its own kind of spin-off thing with the Snyder Cut. They have the ability to make all of this make sense, and I would absolutely love it. The other place that my head inevitably goes is Batman Beyond. I know many people have already been thinking this, but if we get Michael Keaton coming back as Batman in the DCEU as we move forward, it would stand to reason that he's getting pretty up there in age, not necessarily able to be Batman anymore, and he could bring someone like Terry into the fold. If we get Batman Beyond in the DCEU, it is going to be amazing. I promise you, Batman fans are going to absolutely freak the F out. And on top of all of this stuff, none of this, I think this is important to mention, none of this would be leaking out if it hadn't been already pre-planned, and a lot of this stuff was already happening behind the scenes. What I'm saying to you is this isn't just now happening with talks and things like that. This has been decided for some while. This is going to likely be announced at DC Fandom, and DC has a chance. I cannot believe the turnaround that DC and Warner Brothers has made in such a small period of time. They have the potential to set up a beautiful connective tissue with the DC films, figure out where Batman is, that it's its own thing, it's doing its own thing on its own. Totally cool with that. Actually makes me more excited for that movie. And then do something interesting with their shows and with HBO Max, and possibly even create a crossover down the line where all of them connect. It's mind-blowing. So that's the crazy report. I need to know what you think, DC fan, and you can bet your bottom dollar we will be talking about this on the morning stream tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure you come over to the live streaming channel, get your questions in there. Let's geek out about DC, Keaton as Batman, and all of this crazy stuff. Make sure you come back for that on the live streaming channel. And now let's shout out Colby Varney. Yes, indeed, the CHIS leader that Eli Vanto serves under is Admiral Aralani. So shout out to you, Colby. And now let's ask another nerd card question before we get out of here. I want to know, what DC character did Batman's mom become in the Flashpoint reality in which Bruce died instead of the parents? What DC character did Batman's mom become in the Flashpoint universe? Answer that question in the comment section below. And lastly, I want to let everybody know that we are actually ending our Patreon. And instead of having a Patreon to help sort of support the content over here, we are starting up YouTube memberships over on the live streaming channel. And we've just been doing so much content over on the live streaming channel. So I recommend you go check out the content over on the live streaming channel. And if you like the content over here or over there and you're looking to support us, keep an eye out for when we make the shift into YouTube memberships. It's going to be awesome, and it would totally help us out. As I always say, I hope you're having an awesome and a nerdy day, and I'll see you in the next video.